Ladies and gentlemen, the Nintendo Switch 2 is an amazing console, full of fantastic third-party ports, great exclusives, and the future looks very bright. But one area where I'm really enjoying my Switch 2 more than I ever imagined I really would, and I'm always playing the service, is Nintendo Online, because there is so many amazing retro games that you can now play on your Switch 2, and it's so easy. So in this video, what I would like to do is talk about 10 retro games on the Switch 2 that everybody needs to experience. Let's go ahead and get right into this. So one of my favorite services is Nintendo Online because in my opinion, $50 for a whole year to have access to just so many games, I think it's worth it. But there's also all the features that come with it. And one great thing about Nintendo Online as a service, maybe you'll play some of the more popular games that you already know about, and then by doing that, maybe you'll stumble into something you've never experienced before, and that's kind of what I hope to do with this video. I'm going to tell you 10 games where you should get started on Nintendo Online. You need to play these, then maybe you'll stumble into some other amazing games, because there's a lot out there. But before we get started, if you could hit a like and subscribe, that would really mean the world to me. I would love to hit like 500 billion subscribers by the end of this year. And also follow me on Instagram and Twitter if you could, so we can keep the communities growing. And let's just go ahead and get right into this one. The first game I have to talk about, hands down, without a doubt, right away, is The Legend of Zelda, the MINISH cap, and you can find this on the Game Boy Advance. Now the Game Boy Advance, in my opinion, is a timeless console. I have a Game Boy Advance SP on the shelf behind me. I have like a little hacked cartridge full of every Game Boy Advance game, and it's something I could play for my entire life and never get bored. The Legend of Zelda MINISH cap, in my opinion, is a top 3 Game Boy Advance game of all time, and that's saying quite a bit. Now what's interesting is this game was actually developed by Capcom. You know, Capcom, who's doing great work on the Switch 2, they developed a few other Zelda games, and in my opinion, this is the best one. This is a game I honestly don't even hope gets remade or remastered ever. I think it is absolutely perfect. I love the whole premise of it. The music is timeless. The NPCs are charming. Some of the boss battles in this are on the easier side, and the final boss, in my opinion, might be one of the hardest, if not the hardest Zelda boss I have ever faced in any game ever. It is a quintessential Legend of Zelda game. And you know, Zelda's my favorite franchise of all time, so I could just fill this list up with all Zelda games. So I'm actually not going to do that. So you won't see like the Wind Waker on this list as well, even though that's my favorite Zelda game of all time. But just know, the MINISH cap is perfect and it is a must-play game. Now, a series that I think is something Nintendo still appreciates and wants to do something hopefully in the future with, but we haven't seen a new entry in so long, is F-Zero. And there's actually a few F-Zero games you could play through Nintendo Online, but the one that I would recommend is F-Zero GX, and this is on the GameCube, and it's just a game that holds up so well, and it honestly feels like a game that could have came out on a modern system. It's actually really shocking, like how much there is to do in this game, and the courses, and just everything about it I think is fantastic. Now it's weird because we have games like Fast RMX and Fast Fusion, which seem to be kind of filling that spot, and coming from Nintendo, you know, it's like, why would you not want to do that yourself? I know we got F-Zero 99, I think last year or the year before, and it was fantastic, but if you could only play one F-Zero game for whatever the hell reason, like I don't know why that would be a thing, you could only play one, I would say play F-Zero GX. Now another game that I cannot leave off this list is Donkey Kong Country on the Super Nintendo. I think across all standards, no matter what yours are, Donkey Kong Country is a 10 out of 10 perfect game. It is a game that I play probably once a year from start to finish, and there's never a time where I'm like, well, I think I enjoyed it more that time, or I might enjoy it more next time. It's always a perfect experience. And it's a game that's been remade, it seems like, a million times now, but I still think the OG is perfect. It easily has some of the most famous video game music of all time, like you'll hear playlists and hear it in the background of YouTube videos, but the gameplay is where it really shines. I just love it so much. I know a lot of people say they like Donkey Kong Country 3 or even 2 more, and that is fair. I'm not here to tell you like this one is better than those, but I think, again, for whatever reason, if you could only play one or you only want to try out one, this is one of those games right here. And now that I think about it, this actually might be in my top 10 games of all time across any platform. Now, a game slash series that I was very late to getting into, and the only way I actually played this game was through Nintendo Online, like that was my introductory to it, is Golden Sun, which is on the Game Boy Advance. And for the sake of this video, I'll say Golden Sun and Golden Sun 2. Both of these are on the Game Boy Advance, and they're kind of in the same thing. It's Golden Sun and then Golden Sun The Lost Age. Now, there was another Golden Sun that I've never played, I think called Dark Dawn, that was released on the Nintendo DS, but I don't think that one was received as well as these. I think the first one came out in 2001. Even though I never played them back then, it really does transport me to that time, and I think they're phenomenal. Sure, they could do the remaster, maybe like an HD remaster or a 2D HD or something, but I think what they are now in their entirety at full, like the full package, if you were to go play these on Nintendo Online, they are very, very special. And what's interesting is these were developed by Camelot Games, which I think now only makes like the Mario sports games, so maybe some way, somehow they could retouch on this in the future, but for the time being, what we have, I think is absolutely perfect. Now, another great Game Boy Advance game is Mario and Luigi Superstar Saga. This is another game that I got to very, very late. I think I played a little bit of it in 2025, and then I've been messing around with it periodically this year, like as a filler game. Whenever I'm trying to find another game to play, I'll just jump back into this. This game is so damn good, like incredible. Now, I'm doing this off memory, and I don't know for sure because I didn't really experience the 3DS that much. I think maybe this game was either remastered or remade for the 3DS, but I think just the sprite work and the music and just everything about the Game Boy Advance, it's perfect. And it's actually really funny. I want to say in the first 30 seconds, maybe a couple minutes of the game, Toad actually walks in on Mario in the shower, and it's just so funny. It's like, what are we doing here? This is awesome. I love wacky and goofy stuff like that. So yeah, this game has a lot of charm, man. And sure, there's probably quote unquote better Mario and Luigi games, or maybe you have a preference of one over the other, but this is easily my favorite, hands down. Now, a service that a lot of people actually forget that we have on the Nintendo Online service is Sega Genesis. And I actually think we'll probably get more Sega in the future. I could see us getting Dreamcast or Sega CD or something, because it doesn't make sense to only get the Genesis. And the Genesis has a fantastic library. Castlevania Bloodlines, Golden Axe, Echo the Dolphin, Streets of Rage 2, but a game that I think is absolutely timeless. I love it dearly, and that game is Sonic the Hedgehog number 2. Sure, sometimes when you talk about this, some people will say, well, I wish they would have given us Sonic the Hedgehog number 3, and that is fair, but I love Sonic 2. I just love it so much. I think it is a perfect game in the same vein as Donkey Kong Country. Sonic the Hedgehog is great, but when you play it after playing 2 or 3, you're like, oh yeah, I forgot you can't do this, or they didn't do that. I think Sonic 2 just improves upon everything, and then obviously Sonic 3 takes it above that, but Sonic 2 from start to finish is so damn fun. And you know what's funny is I got to the end of this game a million times as a kid, a teenager, whatever, and I actually never even beat it until Nintendo Online, so I don't know if that just means I'm a bad gamer or whatever, but the music, the levels, the mechanics, the boss fights, everything about it, 10 out of 10. And if you play that and enjoy it, go check out some other Sega stuff. Now, I've mentioned it truly a million times in my videos that the GameCube is my favorite home console of all time, because it's the only console, actually aside, I think, from the Switch 2, that I ever got brand new. And a great game that we got that I think everybody should play is CHIBI Robo. Now, what's interesting about this is CHIBI Robo didn't come out until 2006. So, you know, we were really moving into the Wii generation at that point. So maybe a lot of people kind of skipped over this, but it is a wacky ass game. CHIBI Robo is a 4-inch tall robot who's arrived at the Sandersons' house with the goal of helping the family get the most out of life and find happiness. Day or night, he'll help however he can, whether that's by cleaning or looking for lost items. Another game that reminds me, you know, it's not even similar at all, but I always put these in like the same category of just weird and wacky, is Doshin the Giant, which is something I hope, you know, maybe we can see that again on a Nintendo platform in modern times. But the whole GameCube era was just weird and experimental, but CHIBI Robo really worked out. Now, it truly would not be possible for me to make this list without adding Super Mario 64. This is another game that I jump in once a year. You know, it's a quintessential Nintendo 64 game, arguably the most important and famous Nintendo 64 game. And the only real criticism I have to this very day is the cameras are kind of wonky, but they honestly add a little bit of charm to the game because you're being followed by a camera in the game. Like, they thought of everything. Like, they even knew these camera controls are a little goofy, so we'll have an actual reason why this is happening. I did make a video a couple months ago, I think, about how I think this is going to get a remake next year probably. You know, they did Star Fox, or doing Ocarina of Time. This will probably get a remake as well, or at least I could see it doing that. Yes, we got the DS version, which I never really liked that much because I didn't like playing with the D-pad, but I do know a lot of people did enjoy it. But Super Mario 64, while I don't think it is a perfect game, I think it is a timeless game that you can have fun with no matter what. And man, you know, I could play this right now. Now, another game I have to include is a game that is very special, and it's not even like one of my favorite games of all time, but I cherish this game still. I think it is very important. Again, I think it's perfect. It doesn't even need to be remade, and that is Earthbound. Earthbound is a game that I didn't experience until probably 2017, 2018, somewhere around there. And it was a little difficult to get into at first because I think I was expecting something a little different. I only knew Ness from Super Smash Brothers. So I don't know what I was really expecting, but I gave it a chance. And it's a phenomenal game. The music, the characters, everything feels like, it almost feels like a coming of age story in the 90s. Like you watch an old 90s movie about a group of friends, like The Sandlot or Stand By Me or whatever. It feels like you're playing one of those adventures. In the unknown year of the 1990s, a meteorite crashes in Ecoland. In the nearby neighborhood of the crash, Ness and Pokey investigate the meteorite, where they encounter a small creature called Buzz Buzz, who came from the future. Buzz Buzz reveals that in 10 years, the world will be engulfed in hatred by an alien force. That is how this game starts off, and from there you go on a grand adventure. Oh yeah, and if I didn't mention, for whatever reason, obviously that was on Super Nintendo. And the last game I'm going to throw in here is kind of a curveball, a little odd, but I like this choice. And it is a Game Boy game, and it's probably not a game you're thinking about. It is a game called Gargoyle's Quest. This is a game I had never heard of. I knew nothing about it. I might have seen the box art at one point or another because it looked a little familiar. Once this game was added to Nintendo Online, some people are saying like, whoa, this is really good. You need to try it out. And I tried it out and it was phenomenal. Now, what's interesting is Gargoyle's Quest came out in 1990, right? And this was developed and published by Capcom. But this is actually a spin-off of the Ghost and Goblin series, which I have no prior connection to. I don't think I've ever even played any of those games. And I'm not saying they're bad or anything, I just have no connection to them. I think you can beat the entire game in like an hour and a half or 2 hours. But those 2 hours are just such a tight experience and such like a look into that time at gaming. The Game Boy truly was so ahead of its time. It had so many great entries. And this is definitely one of those. So if you want to go out on a limb and try something a little different, I would say definitely give this a chance. It's just one of those games that will really surprise you just because it's really good. Ladies and gentlemen, these are 10 retro games that you need to play right now on the Switch 2. And if you play these 10 retro games and you enjoy them, this will open you up to playing a lot of the other retro games on there. Because honestly, I think Nintendo Online is such a fantastic service that doesn't really get used that much, or if it does, it's only for like the newer releases or games you only know about. But there's a library with hundreds of games to experience. And if you pay $50 a year, well, then you can experience all of them. So in the comments below, I would love to hear from you guys. Any games that you played on Nintendo Online, any games you think I should check out, some of your favorites, just start a conversation. And if you made it all the way to this part of the video, if you could do me a favor, hit a like and subscribe on the way out. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter on the way out, and consider becoming a channel member. I don't say it just to say it. It really helps out tremendously. The support would really mean the world. And you guys know me. I'll see you very soon with a new video. Peace.